Hey guys, it's Vonklous Gaming here with an episode of Railroads Online. And yes, I have been playing Railroads Online. I absolutely love this game. And welcome to the Tall Pines Rail Line. As you can see, I have a locomotive here. On a set of tracks. I do want to bring up, and I haven't been recording it step by step on purpose, simply because I wanted to get quite a bit of it built, simply because I don't have recording software like a lot of the big name YouTubers and things like that. My money is pretty limited, and because of that, I don't have software that I can do a montage and edit and cut and paste and zip and doodah and lap and slap and monkey around with. So basically, everything you see is raw footage. Every mistake is actual mistake. I don't cut anything out. No detail is cut out. If I make a mistake in my speech or my text or anything of that nature, then it is absolutely recorded in this video. As you can see, we have a pretty long bridge back here behind us. I do want to bring up a piece of software that I am using so you guys can get a general idea of my entire rail line. Okay? So essentially, this is where we're at right now, about where my hand is on the screen. This is the Smelter right here. I have a 4-track shunt line over there. I have a roundabout that comes back around from the Smelter. I do need to connect it into this track so that you can go either direction right here. This is a work of art. It is unfortunately gonna have to change, because unfortunately this turn is too tight, this turn is too tight, and this turn is too tight, so my train likes to derail right there. Now, if I bring this on down, you can see that I do have rail lines connected down here as well. So here obviously is the logging or the sawmill? No, wait, we're going to just teleport there. Alright, so it does bring me onto the roof because that's where I clicked. So you can see this is where you drop off your logs. And of course it makes lumber and beams. I have a 4-track shunt line right here. It comes around the back side. There is a small line that comes in and brings wood for the lumber. For the firewood. So that way we can, refit our trains. I have a couple of stations to get water. And then, of course, you have the track here that branches off toward the Smelter. And then that is this location. And that's what I have done now. All of this track in this section down here not counting the smelter area. That is new. I just started that. But all of this track here has been tested both directions and does not yeet the train. The curves are pretty gentle in most areas. There is a tight one here, but it still does not yeet the train. The track is pretty smooth in most areas. We'll now go to the one of the other areas. So moving down the line, you can see I have a couple of bridges right here. And right here is a runoff that goes to this direction, obviously goes to the sawmill. This direction here, this line to the right, goes back toward the freight yard. And then that's basically it right here. It's just a couple of bridges. There is a slight increase or incline right here that I wasn't too happy with, but it works good, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. You can see this track is pretty straight. There is a small couple of kinks here, but that's just kind of in the game. Some of those kinks you just cannot get rid of. I have tried different ways, and especially when you're making the bridges, as long as the kinks aren't real bad, I'm not going to spend all day trying to get them out. Alright, now, as we continue, you can see the blue dot right here on the screen. That is me. If I walk backwards or walk forward, you're going to see the blue dot moves. Alright, so now we'll go right here. This is the lumber yard. That's the lumber yard. This is the sawmill. Alright, so basically, when the train comes in, it comes in on this track. It can drop off or load cordwood right here. Not drop it off, but it loads it. And then this curve has a gentle curve around that comes around to the log side, in which you can grab logs. There is also another basically this side, I don't know what they're going to do with this one yet. They may not do anything, but I look for eventually maybe something to be right here as well as the industries progress. But right now, this is what we got. Alright, that being said, the next stop on the agenda is going to be, and I do have a line here that branches, and then that's pretty much in this side. Over here, you basically only have one area. And then when you come over here, so this is going back toward the freight depot. And according to the freight depot, so basically what I have is my line that comes through, runs off this way, and I built a train shed yard. So right here you can park 6 locomotives in train sheds. Yes, that line is a little crooked. But I'm going to tell you, this was not easy to create right here. So I do have sanding houses right here. And I do have water terminals right here. I have not put in the the firewood terminal yet for you to get firewood. But you can park, and the tracks are they're pretty good. I mean, they're not too bad. This track over here is a problem area, and it does like to yeet trains right here in this turn for some reason, and I don't really exactly know why. I don't see anything in the way, but I'm going to have to rebuild this section of track just because it likes to eat the train right here, especially if it has a tender. But it won't eat it right here, which is kind of awkward because that's a shallower bend right there than right here. So anyway, that being said, you just select which track you need and back your locomotive into the shed. You have a roundabout that goes around the shed and comes back out. So you can, if you're pointed the wrong way, you just go around the backside, come around, and then back down into where you need to go. It's really no big deal. Works out pretty good. I don't tend to use roundhouses simply because, I mean, they're okay, but just doing a roundabout does the exact same thing. And it's a lot less headache to me. Or it seems to be anyway. Because you don't have to try to get all the tracks straight for a roundabout. I mean, for a roundhouse. Alright, so now we're at where the beginning area is. So you have your beginning track lines over there. And then I have a 2-track shunt yard built in here because they gave you a shunt yard to begin with. So obviously you have 3-track shunt yard here, a 2-track shunt yard here for a total of 5. And then this is another roundabout that comes around and goes out that way for the freight depot. And then this track line branches off and runs towards the toward the refinery, the oil field, and the oh criminy, I forgot the name of the other one. Towards your other 3 industries. So if you look at the map right here, this is where we currently are, the little blue dot. When you come around, you'll come through this line, and it brings you to here, which is the oil field. So that'll be our next stop, and then you have this industry, and you have the refinery right here. And of course, this line that comes in for the smelter, I have not gone to this refinery or this refinery yet, but that's the only 2 that don't have lines running to them. So let's go over here and look at the oil field. Alright, so we're there now. Alright. And that program that I'm using to teleport, that is a third-party program. That is not a part of Railroads Online. That program is available for download. To add to your game, and it does help out actually quite a bit because you can switch switches using that program also. Alright, so right here you'll drop off tools down this track. You can also drop off beams and drop off steel pipe. And you can get firewood right here. It's currently full. I haven't delivered logs to it yet. You get your crude oil from right here. And you have your crude oil tanks here. And then the line just basically comes around. And because there were so many derricks right here, I did a long drawn out line, so you actually run through the derricks, which I thought was pretty cool. I liked that. Now, I did not, and I probably will at some point, put in a shunt line over here as well, so you can park tanker cars when you're not using them. But currently I have not put in a shunt line. Alright, so the next stop is going to be right here, which is the Ironworks. And the Ironworks is where you actually get steel pipe from. And you get tools. So you drop off and you pick up tools and you pick up steel pipe. And as you can see, I do have a roundabout here that comes around the building and goes back the opposite direction. Right here, of course, you will drop off coal and you will drop off steel rails, or raw iron, I'm sorry, not steel rails, but raw iron. And then right here you'll drop off lumber. And all three of those products are what's used to make the tools and the steel pipe. And also I have not done a shunt yard in this location either. And then basically last on the agenda, which I will show you, will take a long about way of getting there, simply because the way that I did it was probably a little bit different from other people. And then again, some people may have done it the same way. But right here, basically I built a bridge that has a slow, steady incline. So when you're coming down this track, you got a slow, steady incline here, which brings you up to the actual refinery. And then once you come this way, you'll end up, like right now, we're right up in here. So we're going to go ahead and teleport to over here. And I'm going to bring us right close to the line. Alright, so the line comes up. You come in. And right now, I do not have this one fully completed. This track stops, no, I take that back. Actually, yes, I did fully complete it. So you do have a line here where you can hold trains, but you're going to drop off the crude oil right here. And you're going to drop off steel pipe on this track and lumber on this track. And once you drop those off, right here we have another couple of watersheds, another sand shed, and another firewood depot with a track behind it for dropping off the logs to that. And right here you can get oil barrels. And then over here, which is kind of an awkward way of doing it, is the roundabout that brings you back the opposite direction. So if you come in this way, right here you would take this track And once you get past this switch here, you would back up into these locations here that you need to go. And that way, that puts your cars closer to the docks rather than your locomotive being in the way. So you'll just back down these lanes. But once you've completed that, then you'll just come straight out around this bridge, which is the roundabout that takes you back out. So you just, and it's simple, easy, and actually gives you a lot of great scenery along the way. I kind of like having the distinctiveness of having the good scenery. I know that everybody's not going to like it. Everybody's going to say, well, it would have been so much easier to do a roundabout. I mean, a roundhouse. Well, yes and no, because every time you do a roundhouse, there's a difference. If you do a roundabout, you don't have to unhook from your train. Ever. If I do a roundhouse, your cars won't fit on a roundhouse. So you literally have to park it on a shunt line, unhook from it, take your locomotive around to the opposite side of the shunt line, and to hook back up on it again. And to do that, you have to do the roundhouse, and it's so much more time. It's just a big waste of time. It really is. This way, you just come in, you pull up over there, you back up to those tracks, you unload your goods. Once you unload your goods, you go back out, take the roundabout, come up to here, load up your oil barrels, and you never have to disconnect from your train or any of the cars. So everything's still connected. It saves so much time doing that, in my opinion. And yeah, it's a little on the lazy side, but why disconnect from a locomotive if you don't have to? So basically that's it right now. Now I am going to take you over to the work in progress. The work in progress is just that. There's a lot of things on it that's causing issues and that I'm going to have to work with in order to fix. So right now, I don't have it fully done, and there's still a lot of things that I need to work on right there. So, let's go see that. It's a very interesting line. It really is. So basically you leave out of the sawmill. When you leave out of the sawmill, you'll go toward the smelter. When you get right here, I'll actually drop us right in between just so you can see it, because it is a very weird setup. So essentially, you come in from the sawmill, you come down this line. This line goes onto the hill, comes off the hill, and goes over to the other side. So it runs across to that hill and then comes down and runs under and then to your sawmill. Now, the reason that I had to do this way is because if you tried to come off from that hill up there to down here to this flat ground down here, you would have an extremely steep grade. And the problem with that is going back the opposite direction, because there is the only thing that you have to take out of here is the raw iron and the coal, because it's needed over in the other section. But coming down this would be easy. Going back up it with loaded cars, there's no way you would be able to do that, because it would be a 10% grade or better. And 10% grade is unheard of in railroading. It may not be unheard of, but it's almost never ever done, because it's too hard on the locomotives. So I tried to make this a little bit more shallow, so you actually have a 3% grade that comes down from there, comes over to this hill. Then this is a 4% grade that drops to this hill, and then it goes back down to a 3% grade. So, yeah, you have, a 10% total grade if you add them all together, but it's broke up in 3 different ways so that it makes it less stress on the train. Although I am going to have to redo that line, because there is a couple of sharp spots right there, and when you do come down, it does tend to eat the train in a couple of spots, because the turns are too sharp. And even still, trying to hold your brakes on a 4% grade with just the locomotive isn't really that easy to do. Now, I have already dropped off some cordwood here testing out this line. That's why I know that it eats the train. You'll notice that none of these cars are connected. They're not connected because it yeeted them. It yeeted the locomotive off the track, and then the cars kept coming down. And because this switch wasn't switched at the time, they derailed right here. The only 2 that did not derail were the last 2 cars. So I pushed them up here and then re-railed the other 3 back here. So basically that's what happened, and that's why these aren't connected yet. So that's your first look at my Railroad Online structure. I hope to get some recording software very soon, and if I do, then I will be able to do a montage of me building, which I do know a lot of people like to see. So basically, that's the way it looks right now. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will come back and see the progress on it. I know it's not a lot. There are a couple of ideas that I have for fun things that I would like to do using this rail line also. But I will put those in as just things that you can do, so you can run the line seriously if you want to, or you can run the line and just have a little fun also. So basically, that's why I have my locomotive is right here, because I was working on this track and then testing it with the locomotive. I kind of fixed this rail a little bit here where it wouldn't yeet it, so I kind of slid it over on the foundation some to make the turn a little bit more shallow. But right here it likes to yeet, and right here. Now once you get on this section, it's not too bad, but there is one spot that likes to yeet sometimes. But those coal cars made it, not coal cars, those cordwood load, when it first derailed, it derailed the locomotive right here, and they made it all the way down. It was just right up in this area that it yeeted the locomotive off the track. So I'm going to try straightening this out and then see how it goes. I may extend it out a little bit further and try to make a little bit shallower turn right here so it's not quite as sharp. And then we'll see how it goes. And hopefully I'll have some recording software soon. You can see, I don't know if you guys even noticed it or paid much attention to it. But right here, there is a branch line that comes off. And yes, my intention is to go around here and then connect up to this cliff, come around this cliff to this location. I have actually already pasted out and I found a good route. I also intend to branch off from over here, so I'll have to come and do a Y section here where you can come across here, and this will bring you over to this one, and then from there you'll come back through here, so that it'll basically connect all of these up. So if you don't have to go all the way around here and up and around and over to here just to get to this location, which is the coal mine. So if you just need coal, you'll be able to do it from either direction, which will be very, very good. And then right here you have the iron mine, so you get your iron from there. And then right here is the smelter. And I do believe this tells you the exact counts. So right now there's 34 cordwood. This is the inputs. So you have cordwood and iron ore in order to make raw iron and rails. And here, right here, you have to bring in lumber and beams to make iron ore. And basically you're like, okay, how do you get iron out of wood? Well, think of it this way. They're building a mine shaft. That mine shaft is made with beams and lumber. And that's what it takes to make the mine shaft for them to be able to dig out the iron ore. Alright, and then over here, the coal mine, you have to bring it beams and rails in order to get coal. So there's kind of a process going on. Here, the Ironworks requires raw iron, coal, and lumber in order to make steel pipe and tools. Right here, you need crude oil, steel pipe, and lumber to make oil barrels. Now, if you've noticed, none of these industries take oil barrels. So that's the only thing that I don't quite understand, and that facility over there isn't going to get used very often because there's no reason to make oil barrels. There's nothing on the map that takes oil barrels at the moment. Now, future updates will bring more industry in, and yes, there will be a need for the oil barrels then, but as of right now, there's not. So right now, the sawmill requires logs to get lumber and beams. And that's pretty much it. The freight depot, you can input anything into the freight depot. This is the only thing that will take oil barrels. And yes, they are worth a lot of money. But that's the only thing that I have found that is actually useful for the oil barrels. And you get $1,840 per car. Now that's a lot of money. So if you want to build your money quickly, get to where you can get oil, crude oil, and take it over here and drop it off to make oil barrels. But to do that, you also have to be able to provide this plant with steel pipe and lumber. And to make steel pipe, you have to have the coal mine and the smelter, because you need raw iron and you need coal in order to make the steel pipe. So there's a process to it. It takes a little while, and the ending is pretty much the oil barrels. You're not really going to be able to do those until pretty much after everything's connected. So that's pretty much it. Right there is my railroad at the moment. You can see it on the map. And you can see all the track lines. If you wanted to switch track, all you actually have to do is click flip switch, and it switches it to the other line. You can see it switch. If it's black, that's the direction it's going. So right now, this line would be stopped, and you would actually have to flip it. Otherwise, a train would derail going that way. Now, right now, a train could not go this way. Couldn't go south. So, northbound traffic only until you switch those lines. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys will come back and see the progress as we continue on. Once I actually have some trains running, it'll be very interesting. I will record some footage of that. So, I hope you guys like it and subscribe to it. And come back for some future episodes, because like I said, I will be getting some recording software. I just have not found one I really like yet. And once I do, that's within price. I know there's some free ones, but I don't really care for the free ones. I'd like an inexpensive, decent one, if I can find one. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Peace out, everybody.